The sharply worded comments are the latest example of the president's willingness to criticize China even as he tries to ease tensions. President Biden warned on Thursday that China's struggles with high unemployment and an aging workforce make the country a ticking time bomb at the heart of the world economy and a potential threat to other nations. When bad folks have problems, they do bad things, the president told a group of donors at a fundraiser in Park City, Utah. Mr. Biden's comments are the latest example of the president's willingness to criticize China, often during fundraising events with contributors to his presidential campaign, even as his administration seeks to ease tensions between the world's two largest economies. Earlier this summer, at a fundraiser in California, Mr. Biden called President Xi Jinping of China a dictator who had been kept in the dark by his own officials about the spy balloon that flew over much of the United States from late January to early February before being shot down by the U.S. military. On Thursday night, Mr. Biden said he was trying to make sure the United States has a rational relationship with China, but he signaled that he continues to view Beijing as America's biggest economic competitor. "I don't want to hurt China, but I'm watching," Mr. Biden said in Utah. The remarks underscore the complicated diplomacy that the president and his administration are engaged in as they attempt to ease tensions with China while limiting the economic and military threats posed by the country and its communist leadership. Relations between the two countries grew icy after the spy balloon incident, and the more recent discovery that China has been inserting malicious computer code deep inside the networks controlling power grids, communication systems, and water supplies around U.S. military bases. Mr. Biden has said he seeks competition, not conflict with China, taking steps to minimize the possibility of direct military clashes with Beijing over the South China Sea and the future of Taiwan. Top American officials have visited in recent weeks with their counterparts in China. Gina Raimondo, the Commerce Secretary, is expected to go there in coming weeks. But the president has moved aggressively to contain China's rise and to restrict its ability to benefit militarily from the use of technologies developed in the United States. Mr. Biden signed an executive order this week banning American investment in some Chinese technology industries that could be used to enhance Beijing's military capabilities. In response, the Chinese government hinted that it would retaliate and accused the United States of trying to politicize and weaponize trade. The president's comments on Thursday could complicate efforts by both countries to schedule a face-to-face meeting between the two leaders in the coming months. Mr. Biden and Mr. Xi have not met in person since last November during the Group of 20 Summit of World Leaders in Indonesia. The White House has not said whether the two men will have an in-person meeting at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, which is scheduled for later this year in San Francisco. Mr. Xi is expected to attend. For President Biden, a political liability that may not go away soon. The collapse of a plea deal and the appointment of a special counsel to investigate Hunter Biden mean the president could face political fallout for months to come. They thought it was over, that they could put it in the rearview mirror. All that Hunter Biden had to do was show up in a courtroom, answer a few questions, sign some paperwork, and that would be it. Not that the Republicans would let it go, but any real danger would be past. Except that it did not work out that way. The criminal investigation that President Biden's advisors believed was all but done has instead been given new life with the collapse of the plea agreement and the appointment of a special counsel who now might bring the president's son to trial. What had been a painful but relatively contained political scandal that animated mainly partisans on the right could now extend for months just as the president is gearing up for his re-election campaign. This time, the questions about Hunter Biden's conduct may be harder for the White House to dismiss as politically motivated. They may even break out of the conservative echo chamber to the general public, which has largely not paid much attention until now. It remained unclear whether Hunter Biden faces criminal exposure beyond the tax and gun charges lodged against him by David C. Weiss, the prosecutor first appointed in 2018 to investigate him by President Donald J. Trump's Attorney General. It may be that Attorney General Merrick B. Garland's decision to designate Mr. Weiss a special counsel with more independence to run the inquiry means that there is still more potential legal peril stemming from Hunter Biden's business dealings with foreign firms. Yet it may amount to less than meets the eye in the long run. Mr. Weiss's announcement abandoning the plea agreement he originally reached with Hunter Biden on the tax and gun charges means he could take the case to trial in states other than Delaware, where he is U.S. attorney and has jurisdiction. Some analysts speculated that requesting special counsel status may be about empowering him to prosecute out of state. Friday's announcement feels more like a technicality allowing Weiss to bring charges outside of Delaware now that the talks between sides have broken down, said Anthony Coley, who until recently served as the Justice Director of Public Affairs under Mr. Garland. Embarrassing for the White House while providing more fodder to the president's Republican critics. The president's advisors were frustrated as a result and resigned to months of additional torment, even if they were not alarmed by the prospect of a wider investigation. After 5 years of probing Hunter's dealings, it seems unlikely that Weiss will discover much that is new, said David Axelrod, who was a senior advisor to President Barack Obama. On the other hand, anything that draws more attention to Hunter's case and extends the story into the campaign year is certainly unwelcome news for the president's team.